good morning again.
Welcome back to cloudy Tasmania.
Number 15.
Dock day drinking. I'm getting there.
Yeah, should be Two Tasmanian Cookers podcast. That's what it actually should be.
I saw that. Today I am drinking sugar sweetened coffee. I'm
really?
still trying. Coffee and I don't get along.
From a percolator?
No, I don't do percolator. That's even worse. It tastes like cigarette butts. But yeah.
Then it's not coffee. What is it? Just Nescafe or something?
Organic something or other.
Oh, Christ. So no, it's not coffee.
Oh, careful birds.
No, we've got those idiot swallows.
I quite like them, but unfortunately this week, what did I say? I picked up 3 dead baby birds, which I had to nut up and do because, Jesus.
It's natural selection,
Yeah.
as I've said. If they because where I saw them putting that nest, I went, well, that's a stupid spot for a nest. And then they put the nest there, and then they've wasted a season without passing on their genes.
They were fully formed, but no feathers.
Yeah, they were a day or two old.
Yeah.
A few days old.
So, poor poppets.
They,
Anyway, yeah. I thought there was only 2, but then I found another one yesterday.
Well, I didn't realise you'd gathered the courage to collect them because I thought an animal had come along and went, "Ooh, that looks tasty."
No, so
like a dog or a cat you may own.
I have to psych myself up, but if it has to be done, it has to be done.
Idiots.
So
You haven't quite got to the point of being able to pull a trigger on something yet, but we'll get you there.
No. I'll cook it.
Yeah, everyone, as I keep telling you, it's like, well, I don't enjoy humanely dispatching things, but you've got to do it.
Sometimes
as long as you
it has
don't.
To be done. Yeah.
Lots of times it has to be done. You don't have any problem. You're worse than the mob. You have no problem.
Ordering the
no
hit.
problem issuing the hit, but you're no good. So now we've got you picking things up. You might be able to be a wheelman, but you're no good as you can't. You're not a trigger man. Not a trigger man yet, but so you can drive the getaway car. But
again, I am in full rural mode today as well. I've got my shit shirt on because you have to be covered from head to toe here. You're still wearing something that's heavier than this. This is cotton, at least. You can.
It doesn't bother me. Well, again, I'm trying to lose weight, so it doesn't bother me too much to hotbox myself a little bit. But
because Tassie, even though it's a bit cloudy out there, the UV's still really strong.
UV starts at 11.
Yeah.
And so from about the last month of about halfway through spring through till halfway through autumn, so pretty much 6 months of the year, the UV out here is unbearable.
So you need completely covered. Even so, I managed to get yesterday. Was it yesterday, the day before, when I had a t-shirt on? I've got t-shirt marks.
Yeah. So most people don't realise it when they come down here. It's due to the curvature of the Earth, the holes in ozone layers, and various other physical things. Yeah, the UV down here is just off the charts. So, and because of it, you go outside and you get sunburn in minutes.
Yeah.
And people don't realise it. And you see people come from interstate and just get cooked. Oh, it's 20 degrees out. Yeah, and the UV is off the charts.
Yeah.
So
we're, me especially, you as well.
Yeah, I'm fairer than you mutt.
Yeah. I can pass for a lot of things. We've had this conversation. I'm more olivey than you, but head to toe shirt.
Race. I'm
not trying to be
Whitey McWhite.
I'm a mutt. But I'm not trying to be a North Shore fuckwit. Like, I put my collar up to hide the back of my neck.
Get your Canterbury polo shirt on and
put a hat on.
And your fat ass. You need one of those girls with a popped collar on a Canterbury polo
with really tight and a big chino jeans
and a big fat ass to go and watch your boyfriend play rugby.
I've got all that. Don't you worry. It's downstairs, but I'm not wearing
a big fat ass.
No, I don't have a fat ass today. But you got to cover up. So I've got a proper hat and everything. So.
Yeah, I even have to wear gloves, and I'll often put. My skin's terrible and sunscreen, but I'll put sunscreen on my hands because I've had sunspots burned off my hands already.
Yeah.
Because I'm becoming an old fart. But and I've got a few there that will turn into.
Yeah, I had one on my side.
That was an age spot.
Oh, was it? Oh,
yes,
there
it
you
wasn't
go.
a sunspot. I only get solar keratosis. You actually had.
So,
kill me, Billy.
Whatever. I
had to get it fucking sanded off your fat head.
Yeah, whatever. I am not fussed about that. I never have been.
Well, you don't have to look at yourself, do you?
Aren't you delightful?
I was seeing how far I could get away with it this morning, and ladies and gentlemen, there's the line right there. That's fine. You got it fixed.
Anywho,
And that's what I think you should continue to do. Is that
fix my face. What's going on here?
you need to be refurbished from time to time.
You first, fuckwit.
Oh, well, I am. I'm losing weight. I'm making an effort.
What's going on here?
Oh, it's a fucking tragedy. But oh no, I was going to say slightly more seriously. That's where I think plastic surgery. Who gives a shit what I say? But anyway, but for whatever
If
reason,
it makes you feel better, have at it.
If someone's dumb enough to do it to you, fucking Michael Jackson yourself.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Fill your boots, no problem, whatever. As long as
you
you're
can afford it.
Scaring people.
Yeah.
But realistically, repair, like especially you get a big turkey neck or something, especially when you get someone. Look,
maintenance.
A little bit. We can just just a nip and a tuck here and there, and I
haven't had anything yet.
But as far as Botoxing yourself to the point that you're wearing a mask, it's like no, that's probably a bit much.
Yeah.
But
and do it properly. Don't go to some dodgy.
The amount of people you can, the amount of year 12 dropouts that you can go and see to inject
shit in your face,
botulism into your face.
Make sure they've done the course and you pay you're paying money.
Yeah, plastic surgeon.
Yeah,
a good one,
yeah.
Not one that ends up on Today Tonight or a current affair or whatever, because there's plenty of them as well.
Yeah, I think there's a few good ones here.
I don't know.
I looked into it a little bit. What was I doing?
Trying to get your face fixed.
I think it was when I was researching. I can't remember what it's called.
I can't either.
I don't know. It's zapping. It was a laser zap.
It was like a ruby laser job.
Yeah, because I had an age spot apparently. But yeah, I looked into it here, and there's fly in, fly out guys from Melbourne that come.
There's some money here somewhere. I haven't found it yet, but there's fucking some of it, and because from time to time you do pass someone and say, oh look, it's Mr. and Mrs. Very Well to Do. Oh, look at how well heeled they are.
Because I get a text message from one of the salons that I've been to saying that Dr. Such and Such is here next week if you'd like to book your appointments.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're on a mailing list.
I am totally on a mailing list.
Based on our examination in your last visit, we have signed you up for several
you need some of this sorted out.
Medical professionals to help you.
All right. Again, most of my I was just about to say most of my friends in Sydney have had something done, and people here as well. I know people here who've had things done.
Oh really? Oh. Fake tits.
Trying not to be specific. Yeah.
Fake tits, and then, but that again, in the exception of a pair of bolt-ons, which whatever. The rest of that was absolute legitimate repair.
Oh, I forgot about that. I'm not even talking about that. I was just talking
right.
about the bolt-ons and Botox.
Oh, I forgot you did even have Botox. But
I class that as cosmetic surgery. I don't class the other one was surgery, just not cosmetic surgery.
That was repair.
Yeah, that's
which we shall not discuss, of course.
Yeah.
But
that's required.
Yeah. But technically,
do they still class it as optional?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised she got that done, actually. The amount of waiting time here for surgery is insane.
No, they spent the money. They did it privately.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Cool.
Again, let's not discuss that anymore.
Fair enough. So anyway.
Because all I'm going to go, and then this happened, and I know about that, and blah, 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 and it's like...
But what I was going to say is that we're heading into summer, I always have to do the little rhyme in my head. Summer, autumn, winter, spring. And it's already cool in the morning, so it was 3 or 4 degrees this morning.
It's 23 now.
Yeah, but it's going to be 28 tomorrow, so we have to definitely add 10 degrees, so it's like 38.
Or more. So once you get on the high side of
Today's
26, weather. Yes, here's Tom with the weather.
Well, you have to when you're semi-rural.
Yeah. Oh, no, we're not semi-rural, we're rural. But... yes, over 26 degrees here is hot. It's hot and it's unpleasant.
Yeah.
But it's a dry heat. But
it's just not Christian.
That's more from aliens.
But so again, showing that I am rural, I've got the bomb app on the front screen of my Vim.
That's also just being Tasmanian. You definitely get 4 seasons in one day here. And it's very unpredictable. It's not like Sydney back in the day where you get a southerly change at 2:30 in the afternoon.
No.
And you could set your watch by it back in the good old days. But
the only thing that there's definitely here is that once the shade hits, once you've got shade somewhere, there is a marked difference between standing in the shade, it's cold, and then standing in the sun and you're fucking hot.
There's not a lot of convective heat. It's all radiant heat.
Yeah, so I'll be putting my hoodie back on and then taking it off, literally just moving from one spot to the other. So, anywho, but yeah. The only other thing I had of interest, the Miami International Boat Show starts today. Another mailing list that
really?
I'm on.
Oh god, okay.
So I was having a sticky beak at that.
That wasn't the Fort Lauderdale one was bigger than the Miami one, wasn't it?
But I think they're all run by the same people. I think the Miami's the second biggest one. But
Well,
they name it. It's like called the biggest boat show in the change the bit here. Like they all have a claim.
Right, biggest boat show in the world.
In the south.
Biggest in the south.
South something or other. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to go. Just us hanging out in Florida for a couple of weeks would be interesting.
So there's some, but
dead.
I couldn't. So Benetto's showing, but Amel is not.
Oh.
I looked at all the exhibitors because the photos that they've got displaying, what's happening, were all very much. Again, I don't know much about boats, but nothing with a mast.
Yeah, it's all. Well, that's what I was going to say.
Motorboats, is that what they're called?
Yeah, power boats.
Powerboats,
motorboats.
Very flashy American, where you pull your boats up together and you have drinks, that kind of thing. It all looked like that kind of boat, but really big.
Horsepower. Massive amounts of horsepower. Thousands of horsepower.
So I was looking at the picture going, is there a mast there somewhere of like a sailboat? Well,
that's why. It's not their market. Despite the fact in the Florida Keys and all the rest of it, it's fucking good sailing. Like watching that Sam Holmes son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Sailing around down there. But yes, we didn't even bother to go to the wooden boat festival here. So
we didn't get to it.
We'll have to do that next year.
It wasn't convenient.
Wasn't convenient, mainly because we didn't have our car. Which is a very, very, very quick story. We had basically a new car, sort of bought new, serviced by the people that bought it, and the fucking wheel came off at 110 kilometres an hour on the way to the airport. So, thanks, with not a lot of warning. Just making a little tiny noise, and we've, not to go into it in gruesome detail, but we've had explained to us how it could happen with a modern car.
Yeah.
That if they're not fitted correctly, they can still be tight.
1 millimetre.
Until they're all of a sudden not tight.
Not at all, and then they come straight off.
But hopefully we get that car back today. And the people that sold us this car, with a couple of gripes here and there, have acquiesced to every, in my opinion, reasonable request, saying, okay, let's all put this, because for once in my life I'm just sick of arguing with people, and I'm sick of ending up in court with people. Not that I end up in court that often, but we end up in submitting things to courts pretty regularly, which again usually gets our point across fairly sharpish.
Every other thing that we do here ends up in court. Not ends up in court, but the words, well, fuck off, I'll see you in court. Every other thing.
Yeah.
Well, but even if it's just between us, we go, if they don't do it properly, fuck off, we'll just take them to court. We'll just sue them.
So, but anyway, this seems to be okay. I haven't got the car back yet, but anyway, it looks like, yesterday I had to throw my weight around a little bit, and then there was like, yeah, no problem. Like, they look like they shh. Because it's like, given the circumstances of it, which I'm not going to go into, particularly because I'm sick of thinking and talking about it. But I don't think you'd ruin them, but you'd put a dent in them under the circumstances. Because it was a case of, you haven't done that properly. Yes, we have. You really haven't. Okay, we've redone it. All right. Oh no, we never touched that. It's like, really?
It's no longer on the vehicle.
Yeah. The wheel. One of the major components that is required for 4 wheels on the floor. There's only 3 now. Yeah, wheels are kind of important. But anyway, so never mind. It's all good.
So hopefully get it back, because it is annoying. Because we haven't got a loan car or anything. Like
that was
first world problems. We've got enough cars that we've managed, but
I think there's
still
4 cars out
that
there.
one's, we have all specific purposes, and that's our ute, essentially, our town ute.
That's the ute for the bar. But it's the comfortable. It's basically a Mercedes with a tray.
Yeah.
Like, it is a Mercedes with a tray.
Yeah. My buzz box.
and that's the car that's, until I buy a land yacht, that's the car that you go, right, we've got to drive 250 kilometres. Well, that's the one you get into because it's...
Cruise control and padded seats and...
Padded seats.
What are they called?
Leather?
Heated leather.
Heated and cooled seat. I mean. Yes, all the...
Yeah, it's got heating and cooling on seats.
All the fruit. And it's very comfortable. And because, again, the other new car that we've got, which is a little Jimny... It's just, it's not built for the open road.
It's not highway driving, no. It's climbing over things and rural shit.
Okay. It's fine, we're very grateful, and blah, 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 blah,
It's
blah.
worth more than it was when I bought it.
Oh, yeah, I've made 50% on that thing.
It's ridiculous.
So yes, anyway, so...
But yes, we must have a boat day.
Boats.
Because, yes, I was talking about the Miami boat show.
So
there's some lovely things there. But yes, we must go to a boat show. You went to the Sydney one last year. They don't have one here,
which was fine, apart from it being a bit sad. The boats were fine, and if you went and looked at all the boats and got on them, it was interesting. It was certainly worth the effort. Not that I just went to Sydney for the boat show.
Because the Sydney boat show is the biggest Australian one, I think.
Right. It wasn't that big. But I was impressed by the boats that were there from the point of view that there were some... so there was everything that I wanted to look at. So there was a couple of Benettos there and the Amel. So that was fine. But in terms of the power boats and things, not that it's really my cup of tea, I wouldn't knock it back though, but there were some pretty serious boats there, like, you know...
Sydney's got some serious boating.
And some serious money.
Yeah. Here
and there. But yeah, there was some boats, like, there was some power boats. Most of the power boats they had on display there wasn't much under a stick. So most of the power boats there were like, $2-3 million. And then there were some big boats.
Yeah.
A couple of big things that, wouldn't piss with the big boys in...
The Russians.
Yeah, or, or the Americans. But,
yeah, true.
But it's the sort of thing that you'd need a crew.
Yeah.
Who
was that?
They'd have uniforms. Like, the boat's big enough that the crew has uniforms.
One of my flatmates in Canada was crewing for a bit. He was wandering around.
On a super yacht.
Yeah.
So
Tim, I think.
If you got money to burn and some ridiculous company to put it in to make it tax-free...
Because boats are a lot of maintenance.
Yep. 10% a year of the purchase cost you should set aside for maintenance. And even I haven't spent that on our boat yet.
And if people want to laugh, what is it, Boneheaded Boaters of the Week?
Yeah, Broncos Guru. That's fucking
on
hilarious.
YouTube, that's very good.
Boating news and just people doing stupid things.
Hopefully we never end up on that. Jesus Christ.
Well, we could.
People being... Well, we're not... Generally, it'd be an accident if we ended up on that. Generally, we're not fuckwits.
Well, as I said, we've known people that could have ended up on it. But,
is that still there, that boat?
Yeah, I guess I should very quickly tell the story. So there was a chap in the marina berth next to me, even less sailing experience than me, which is saying something, because yes, dear listeners, I'm not by any means an old salt, but I know the basics, and
I don't really like boats.
And Charlie doesn't like boats. I've done the basics. I would say reasonably competent at sailing on a river, reasonably. I haven't got the courage for Bass Strait just yet. I haven't got the right boat for Bass Strait either. But in the fullness of time, if we continue, and we've got a nice little, 27. I've never actually put a tape on it. It's meant to be 27, but I reckon with the bowsprit and the duck board, it's probably closer to 30. But the boat itself's 27 foot.
It's a river boat.
It's a solid riverboat. It's got a bilge keel.
She's very cute.
And it's cute. It's basically a floating caravan. It's very comfortable.
Round bum.
Yep, you can live on it. You can comfortably go on a weekend for it, and it's got a good new engine in it, and set of sails, and all
Just
good.
needs some paint.
Anyway, so there's a guy on. So we've got it in a marina in Launceston, and there was a guy there that was. That had a little boat, little Roberts 26, good starting sailing boat.
He wasn't there though. He'd come in, right? He wasn't there for a while.
No, he was there for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so he was there for a while. Anyway, so this guy was talking about he said he was going to go, and he couldn't even start the engine. No, really basic stuff. So there's no way he put that boat in that marina berth. Someone else would have done it for him, more than likely. Not that I can talk, because just an aside again, the marina berth at Launceston is hard.
I was just going to say maybe he just did bumper boating.
It's really hard to get in there because you got, it's windy and the tide is ridiculous. You've got only moments of opportunity to get in there, and it's
not
difficult.
big.
And it's not big.
It's not a lot of room.
It's getting in and out of there is to the limits of my ability, which is fine. But and I've done it by myself once, and it's tricky. Anyway, so long story short, he's in there and he's planning on going on this trip, and I suggested to him that, do you really think that's wise? Why don't you start in the river and go, because he was going to go sailing down to Hobart or something, or around the east coast
of Tasmania.
The roughest sailing, most
no, West
difficult
Coast is
sailing.
Worse, isn't it?
Yes, but just
Tasmania
around
full stop.
Tasmania. Around Australia's bad,
Yeah.
and Tasmania is, in some places, just certain death, and people die every single year. So, anyway, so he decides so he's going to go on this trip, and he invites me to come, and I said, no thank you. The thing, even though I did want the experience, it was like, I've got a guy here that knows even less than I do on a boat that I don't own, and he would technically be in command, and we'd end up arguing, and it'd turn into dead calm, but no one would get to bang Nicole Kidman. So anyway,
It was a female though. It wasn't Nicole Kidman. It was his daughter.
It's his daughter. Anyway, so it was chatty with him, and off he goes, and then the boat disappears, and so he's off on his thing. Months later.
No, was it months?
I'm telling the story.
Okay, as you were.
So months later, and it was months, thank you very much. So months later, the boat's back and it's tied up in a different spot, and it's there, and okay, he's come back, cool. Anyway, so we're there, and another, boaters always talk, and there's another boat that came in, an older Beneteau that I was interested in having a look at, and talking away, and South African people on it, and they were sort of asking the questions of like, who lives in here, and who's what and who's where, and I sort of said, that guy lives there, and that guy lives there, and then I got to this boat, and I said, and that's old mate. He went away sailing for a while. He's come back, so for whatever reason he's over there and not actually back in the marina berth. So I said, he's a bit of an odd bod, but he's all right and he means well. And this South African guy goes, that boat? And I said, yeah. And he says, that guy? And I said, yeah. He said, he's dead. And I went, what? He said, he's fucking dead. He drowned. And I'm like, no. So I didn't know and hadn't crossed my desk, but that was basically October 3 or something. So as it turns out, the story is, and I haven't looked up for a while because I want to look at the coroner's report. So old mate and his daughter went sailing up the Tamar, shot straight out past the heads, turned left, I don't know why, pretty sure he wanted to turn right, but maybe he was heading for Devonport, turned left, and then the story is, not sure, have to read the coroner's report to find closer to what happened. And you and I were arguing about this, but you're just going to have to trust me on this one. He anchored a couple 100 metres offshore, apparently, in a place where I see very limited shelter. You're going, I'm going, it's just Bass Strait. And you can see on the...
We weren't arguing about that. You said he's picked the first spot that he could find. I went, no, he's gone past a bay. He went past the first spot that I'd pick, and then...
Well, my point was...
on the fucking beach.
All of it was certain death.
Yeah. There's nothing but Bass Strait.
And considering what happened...
Yes.
I've got a reasonable thing. So apparently this chap, not to speak ill of the dead, but I was going to say this idiot, but I wasn't there. So he's anchored offshore in a place where I think you wouldn't anchor if your life depended on it, and it did. Him and his daughter, and apparently they've gotten tipped out of the boat somehow, because again, it's just waves coming in.
So he's on the beach.
Yeah, he's basically on the beach.
He's in the waves at the beach.
Right. And they both went overboard. She managed to get back and radio for help. No EPIRB, no
safety equipment.
Don't know what safety equipment's got on there. And that was it for him. That was a wrap. So he's drowned. And that was like the day after you spoke to him. I think I was the last person to see him alive, besides his daughter. Yeah. And I had no idea. Mm-mm. And it was quite like, wow. I've had people die on me like that before, but like that one, not where it was so blatant, such a bad idea. It's like, what the fuck were you thinking? Yeah. So a bit older than me, maybe 10 years older than me. So 50s, and his daughter was 18, I think. I read the news report after you said old mate's dead, and I went, what? But yeah, and so she's She was like 17 or 18.
18. I said, so she's changed forever because
Yeah.
that's a life-changing experience.
Oh, yeah.
Nearly drowning, trying to get yourself back out of the water.
Father dead.
Yeah.
You know. So, yeah.
Having to be rescued.
PTSD, the whole box and dice.
18.
18. And she had no business being on a... She wouldn't even make sense on our boat in the marina, let alone because she was this pretty thing with the makeup and all the,
Not a boater.
No way.
Along for the ride.
Yeah, and yeah. So anyway, we'll have to.
But the boat's fine.
Yeah, and well, again, the like you just look at it and you go, well, you could have stopped here. Not only would you wake up alive, you could go and get a nice dinner and have a drink glass of wine and everything, and then be fine, and then go right, because that's what you've got to do with you've got to plan a passage, and you go, I've got to get from here to here. Now, how long have I got, and where's the weather coming from, and what happens, and I need two options when shit goes bad.
Again, so he didn't. I don't know. Again. I don't understand that because my brain doesn't work like that. But he didn't even do the basics before he even started. Like,
I don't know
he didn't
occurred.
have an EPIRB.
No.
Did he have life jackets?
He must have had life jackets.
Like,
but he certainly didn't have one on when he went up. Well,
no.
We don't know.
Well, anyway.
We don't
but
know.
I mean, all the shit,
report.
like, your boat, does it have all the stuff you need before you go?
And the boat was too small to be out past the heads.
So, yeah.
It was only a...
So...
Well, the boat was fine, as those boats often are. Yeah. Inexperienced.
Suicide.
Yeah, he didn't... Well,
Madman.
That was the other thing. You're going, was he deciding to off himself, and is he the pilot that goes, I'm sad and I'm taking everyone with me? I didn't get that from him. I didn't get that from
So
from
idiot or
vibe out of him.
madman.
And I've known people that have done that.
So
So I didn't get that vibe from him. I just think just sadly, I would say completely and utterly out of his depth.
Literally.
Again, all these words come from. But like previously, there was the other one in the West Coast. They went out, and 3 or 4 of them went out in a tinny, and the weather changed, and that was a wrap, and they were all young, and they all.
None of them came back from that, did they?
Nope, they all fished the corpses out of the water. I don't know if they found all of them. One of them might be halfway to Spain, but it's just.
I think it took a while, but they finally got the last one.
It's just a big deal. Boating in Tassie is a big deal.
Ask any Tasmanian, and they will happily tell you, because they've all got boats.
Everyone's got a boat here.
Everyone fishes.
The only reason I bought a yacht was like, I'm rich and I haven't got a fucking boat. He's broke as shit and he's got 2 boats. I need a boat.
They all grow up with it, and they all have boats and of various levels.
There's still definitely dickheads.
Definitely dickheads.
But they tend not to kill themselves.
No.
And it really, you can kill that Tamar River. Is when you go up, especially go up Long Reach and all the rest of it, that's a significant piece of water. And if you go overboard in there, you probably won't drown. But if you haven't got a life jacket on, it's going to be a big swim.
Yeah.
Like to get over to the side.
Like,
oh yeah.
Bye.
Oh yeah. There's definitely.
I don't like boats.
Yeah, and the current there, so you're swimming, and it's like, well. You're going. The current's 5 knots.
You're going into the ocean. Bye bye.
Oh, if it goes out that way, see ya.
Yeah, you're heading for Melbourne. You ain't coming back.
Yeah, no. So you better hope. And
hope a submarine doesn't hit you.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah, it's a really, really big deal.
That's my funniest story about the Tamar. We were working on our boat up at Georgetown. La 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 la, and then all of a sudden you say, "Oi, wife," and I'm like, "What the fuck do you want?" And I look up and there's a submarine coming up.
Surfacing. It's the fucking hunt for Red October.
I'm like, and the first thing I think I said to you is it ours?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, the Chinese are here.
No, it was Collins class sub.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
HMAS Sheehan.
Okay. Yeah. And apparently there's a port that they pull in for servicing or something. Is that what this is?
They do have a Tasmanian port. I don't know, but they would have been at Bell Bay, where I was telling you at Long Reach, where they would have been over there. But yeah, it literally comes up out of the water. And you're like...
Just there.
Okay.
Because massive ships come past in the Tamar as well. You don't realise how... Well, I didn't.
Again, a part of the reason why you need to have your wits about you.
Container ships.
Yeah.
La 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 la.
Yeah. And there's...
Submarines. La 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 la.
Yeah, there's
Dinghy.
La 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 la. Yeah, there's all sorts of things going on in there. And that's why you've got to be You've got to be careful and have your wits about you and know what you're doing. And I've been on other people's boats who shall remain nameless, and at some point I'm sure he'll be a guest on this burgeoning podcast, but completely mad and going, Luke, we don't need to do 38 knots. Like, so you're just absolutely smashing along. Like, you can't see because it's like, and your face is flapping behind you, and it's like,
no.
Just slow down, mate. Here's the thought. I said, because when I got on the boat, I said, I'll get on the boat with you, but you need to fucking do as you're told, please.
Halve it. Whatever you're going to do, halve it.
Because he's just this zero or flat knackers, and it's like,
He's a maniac.
I've never been that kind of person.
Yeah.
And they're just saying, you hit something, and there's plenty of shit floating around here.
Yeah.
Like, if you need to do that speed, okay, you need to do that speed for whatever reason.
If it's an emergency, off you trot.
But otherwise, 20 knots...
Or getting out of the way of a container ship.
Then fine.
Yeah.
The 20 knots is just fine. 15, 20 knots, you're going to get where you're going in a few minutes.
Because at the end of the day, it is a river, and there's trees floating in it.
Of course.
There's friggin' picnic tables from the flood floating in it.
Absolutely. And you hit that at 30 knots, like you hit that at 80 kilometres an hour, and that's a wrap.
Yeah.
That's a wrap.
I couldn't believe how much stuff came through the marina when when it was flooding. Like, the amount of stuff that just gets stuck around the boats in the marina is insane, and big things.
Yeah,
I was like, there's a tree, a full-size tree. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, this is the difference between people who end up dead and people who don't. And anyway. You have to, there's plenty of time just going along there reasonably. There's plenty of opportunity for heroism. You don't need to fucking generate it yourself.
And I'd like to, when things are open, it's quite a nice cruise, sail, whatever, up the river. As I said, I've done the commercial one. What's it called? Tamar River Cruises, I think, or Cataract Gorge Cruises, I think it's called. They've got two. They go that way or that way. So you can go into the gorge a little bit, but not very far. In the little, it's kind of like a vintage boat. It's
not really
open. There's no
it's a tour boat.
Is that what it is? Okay. So you can go in there and just do a little tootle and go under the nice bridges and stuff. But you only go about 50 metres in.
Because you run out of water.
Yeah, there's rocks, like you can't go any further. So you go in there and come back around. Or you can go up the river, and that was lovely.
And that's the other thing for that river with doing stupid stuff. So, and which I've been caught out by nearly every time I go up there. So you go around, especially you take your first turn after going through King's Wharf in Launceston. You take the first turn, and there's an expanse of water, a massive thing. Right, the channel's on the right hand side, and it's about 5 metres off the side of a wall. The rest of it is about 3 inches deep, and it does not look like it at all. No. And I'm walking along, so I'm just and then all the alarms start going off for all the depth alarms start going off, and then I go, oh fuck me, that's right,
over there,
there. Straight on the gas over there, and
you run aground
and then turn around. And in our boat, it's not the end of the world. But the problem is, because the tide, it's a 14-foot tide. If you run aground and you're stuck there,
you're waiting for a while.
You'll be there for a while. Yeah. And if you're stuck, you'll be needing to say hi. This is why I always take a dinghy with me. Like you'll be tying a rope to the back of your boat and asking some idiot where his boat will do 40 knot to say, can you just give me a tug back out of here? Thanks, buddy. Damage. But that being said, and it will happen, you get stuck in our boat. It's just like, oh well, go downstairs,
make a cup of tea.
Oh, have a nice brandy, and wank and a nap, and make a day of it. So it's quite comfortable.
It is lovely though. But that was the other thing. So I came to visit a couple of times when you went on the river for a week in January. There was hardly anyone there.
Yeah, no one. It's unused. It's unused, and everything, and most of the towns are, all the services in
shut.
them.
But I mean, just the actual river is lovely, and
it's fine. It's a nice place, and that's why I would like one in the fullness of time to rub down with an appy. But if you had something like a clinker speedboat or something, and you pop it in somewhere, and you have a little fish, but mostly you just have a nice cruise up the river and do it at a reasonable clip. Because that's the thing, in a yacht, flat knackers in a yacht on the Tamar with a hurricane behind you, the engine flat knack, you're doing...
What, 8?
No, 7.
Okay.
7 knots. Just because of all the physical reasons that, a little boat like that can only go so fast. You want to be able to do, 20, so you can actually... get up and move along.
Because there's a couple of pubs along the river that you can stop at. We've stopped at one of them.
Yep, Rosebeers. Yeah. That's all good. Rosevears and Beauty Point, pub
then
there, pub there,
Georgetown.
and then Georgetown. There's a couple of pubs there.
And then there's Hillwood Cafe, which was...
Hillwood Cafe, and that's
nice.
about
That's about it, I think.
that's about it. Technically, I think over at the tail race you could probably tie up there, and
Yeah, that's a bit of a...
there's a pub there, and that pub's weird. Remember, we went in there and yeah, that one where there was a lunch special, and we went over there, and you
No,
can
that's
only...
Riverside. Yep, different.
No.
Yep. Tail Race is the one on the hill there. It's a restaurant.
Oh, okay, so there isn't a pub.
No pub.
Okay, yeah.
There's a golf club.
In my defence, you could walk
You could
from
probably
that
go
one.
to the
You could
golf
walk
club.
from that one to that one that I'm talking about, though. It wouldn't be, it's probably a 10-minute walk or something, maybe.
I'm not walking.
Yes. Are you mad? So yeah, anyway, so somehow we've gotten on to Tasmanian boating for a while,
Boats.
but yeah, nothing much else to report. Raquel Welch popped her clogs,
Yeah.
7,000 years old.
I always think of
Her
her as
tits
being...
live on.
They were real, weren't they?
Yeah, that was the whole point
Yeah,
of her.
I was gonna say, she was real.
She was, she was gorgeous.
Yeah.
But again,
I think she was my father's girlfriend. I
Dumb
think
as a-
he liked her.
dumb as a
Raquel
box of
Welch.
rocks, but
Yeah.
worst actress in the world. She was
Well, she was the... Was it Planet of the Apes? That was her?
Barbarella. Oh no, what was that?
No, that was the
that
blondie.
was that was Jane Fonda.
That's right.
Oh,
Who was
getting-
so... Raquel
The land
Welch?
of the 50,000 foot woman.
Conan
or
the
whatever.
Barbarian or something?
I don't think she was in that.
Something. Anyway, I know her.
Yes,
And
so
yeah.
she was 60s, 70s
Gorgeous.
bombshell, and yeah.
Yeah. Baba Voom.
So yeah, and just 34, 26,
What
34.
nationality was she?
Australian,
Raquel Welch.
American Australian. She was one of the.
No.
She spent
Austrian.
She spent a lot of time
There's
here.
no way she's Australian.
I thought she was. This is where I'm going to be completely. She's American, she's American, right?
Yeah.
She's American, but I thought she's. 1 million BC was the thing.
There you go. I knew there was some kind of
1940.
ape
fucking hell,
thing.
But, Fantastic Voyage.
I remember her being
thought
in
there was
animal leather
So
skin.
I knew she was born in Chicago, died in LA. I thought there was an Australian element to her, so
No.
I'm just completely wrong.
Completely. Yep.
Never
heard that before.
Yeah, I don't. Why?
Might be getting mixed up with someone else.
Why did she marry an Australian at some point?
And she had an accent.
Yeah.
Like a European accent.
Yeah. Raquel.
Born in Chicago. I wouldn't have picked that.
Welsh, Australia.
No.
There was some reason back in the 80s when I was a kid. Yeah,
Random
I'm just
segue.
utterly wrong.
I know you are.
Sorry,
I
stand
saw
corrected.
they were shutting down, again, random segue, they were shutting down Betty White's socials
Oh, really?
yesterday. They've kept them open
Oh, yeah.
for however long, and they said now it's time to close them down. Because, again, I think they're still having lots of comments and people blah, 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 and they can't manage it. But
Why isn't she in the new season of
Yeah,
this? It's-
where is she?
She's 100 and she's
she's
dead.
deaded. So,
Okay. Yeah, I can't believe.
But I had
don't
to
know where that
double check 'cause
Australian
I
came
saw-
thing from. So everyone laugh at me. I can't.
no. It's weird. But I had to double check whether or not Betty White was dead because she came up on my thing and I went... Because she looked like they had a picture of her when she was, old but in her heyday. And I'm thinking, she died, right? So,
But that's the thing. She's been in a heyday since the 30s.
Yeah.
She's never really stopped. Well, certainly since the mid 80s, anyway. When
Golden Girls.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah. So anyway,
Alright.
so that was about it. No real local news.
Oh, there's killings in the news, but apart from that,
yeah,
murders,
whatever.
the usual.
That's fine. All good. So I'm going to spend the rest of the day building fences and welding trucks, as you do with in.
You're
farming.
very happy with your $50 generator purchase.
It's the best $50 I've ever spent. So yeah, just one of those things where bought it off someone who should have known better. But it was a ratty looking generator, but I thought, the alternator on it I can take off, and that's probably good. And someone
There's
said,
a reason, like a
50
deceased estate.
Yeah,
So
that's
you're just
right.
trying to clear the decks of all the
yeah,
stuff.
just trying to get rid of it. And they said, how much for that? And I was like, $50. I went, oh fuck yeah, all right, I'll take that for $50. I could have more than $50 worth of copper in it if you scrap the armature,
again,
because it's a massive
You've
thing.
got all this stuff to deal with.
Yeah, well, it's like when we move and there's stuff that we've given away that's worth good money, and then you just go, just take it, mate. Just see
The
you
op
later.
shop at Tarmore got some seriously good things from me, and I remember just walking and going, just take it, just take
And some
it.
books I hadn't finished reading.
No, they went to the retirement village. You're still dirty on that.
Oh yeah, you'll be on your deathbed, and I'll be going, well, good, because I still haven't finished Nigel Hawthorne's biography because you've given it away.
I bought you that
No, you
again.
didn't. You
Didn't I?
rebought. what's
I bought
his
you one
face?
of
The
them
Good
again.
Life. Paul Eddington. You rebought Paul Eddington's biography, and I still haven't finished reading that either.
So tip for the
Yes.
listeners.
Anyway, so there was. What was that?
I said tip for the listeners. If you want to get rid of stuff, take it to the retirement village.
Yeah, and then don't have him notice 2 minutes later. Go, where's all my shit? Oh. Yes. Anyway, so no, this generator, but so yesterday I thought, because I needed to do some welding, and I thought, and it was a welding generator, and I went, do I try and get that going?
You were going to buy one, weren't you?
Yeah, I was thinking I was going to go, fuck it, $3,000, $4,000, let's just get it done.
Because we need one for rural.
So we need one. And then I thought, before I do that, let me have a look at this. And then I looked at it and I went, this doesn't look that bad. And then I cleaned it up a bit and went, okay. This actually has pretty good compression. Oh, it's got spark. And then I thought, 20 minutes later, running perfectly.
Toyota.
Not Toyota, well.
What's it called? Honda. It's a brand name.
Technically, Toyota probably does make generators. They certainly make forklifts and
Generators aren't my thing.
And fleet cars
It's
for the
your job.
Taliban.
It's your yeah.
So yes, anyway, so I fixed this, and yes, and afterwards, so we'll see how today's I've already had a solid $50 worth of service out of it. We'll see how it goes today, but I'm basically building a trailer around it. But worst comes to worst, I'll buy another engine for it if it's stuffed. But it seems
to be working.
That's what I thought. I thought, I'll get it going, and it'll have a knock in the bottom end. Like, there'll be something. Okay, it's got compression, but there'll be something wrong with it, because the guy that, again, as you've explained why, but the guy who sold it, easily as competent as me when it comes to getting stuff fixed. Like,
Yep.
he'd absolutely know at least as much as I do, more. Like, he's, very, very, very handy and all those sorts of things. So, but again, as you say, it's like, fuck it, don't need it. Need to get rid of it.
Yeah, father died and all this stuff because his father had a lot of stuff.
He did have a lot of stuff.
So yeah,
and, I should have hung around a bit more and scabbed a bit more of it up, but I did try it a bit. But it was all weird. And I said, those familiar with Tasmanian local politics would have known who his father was, and he. So again, of interesting stories, and again of me saying, I've known people like this and that, and that have ended up dead. So this guy was a colourful local character who certainly took a few very, very public and opposing stances to things like gay marriage, with one of the loonies that would put signs up and all the like big signs on his property and stuff like that. So he was one of them. And in the end, he decided that he was going to check out, and he, as I understand it, and this is from the horse's mouth, he'd shot himself in such a way that he would end up in a fire that he had built that was so well done that the coroner nearly made an open finding, because all they had left of him was a bit of a shin bone, and it wasn't viable enough to get DNA out of to go, this is definitely this guy. So he did such a good job of it.
Yes, he did his own funeral service.
His own funeral service, his own cremation.
That's what I mean, everything. There was a plan involved.
Oh yeah, this guy. But as I dealt with him a few times, he was a psychopath. Like, he was a genuine dyed-in-the-wool psychopath. Because when I saw him, I was like, oh, I know what you are. Oh, you're not thing. Like, he'd killed people. Like, this is, the dead can't sue for defamation.
Yeah.
But that guy'd killed people. Like, he was. And I knew Ivan Milat, and I know a psycho when I see one, and yeah, he was the real deal. And
but he had lots of good stuff.
He did have lots of good stuff, and he did work for me on a couple of occasions, because his son works for me occasionally, and he sort of brought his father along, and because it got to the point where I wanted to say to him, mate, don't bring him here. Like, I don't, but. Well, the son's fine.
Yes,
he's fine.
Lovely.
No problem. He's lovely. But yeah,
salt of the earth.
But Dad was a.
But he was
hard
also
bastard.
I don't know what's going on there. There wouldn't have been a
But
fun
anyway,
childhood.
And I got that impression that
he's a prick.
he was damaged because of his
hard man
father.
And I never met him. But
Yeah,
all I know
and you would have went,
no,
because if anything,
my creepy would have gone off.
which would have been good for you, because of all my interesting stories that we'll get to over the coming weeks and months, with some of these people, it's just like, oh yeah, I know a loony, so I'd be able to go, well, there you go, there's one.
Yeah.
So,
but was I going to say? Oh no, his father too had lots of weird and wonderful, interesting things. He seemed to like a contraption and a device, and he was good at building things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know when we went and picked up, I don't even know what it was, but those barns that he'd built with the massive trees that obviously were here when they didn't log shit. Like he built all this weird and A-frames and
all
it
really
was
good
quite
stuff.
interesting.
Yeah, and
the water wheel.
Yeah, lots of real stuff that I want to do as time progresses.
Made things.
Yeah, big interesting
inventions and
just real make do and mend and building.
Upcycling before upcycling was even a fucking thing.
Yeah, it was just
recycling what
just,
you had.
I need a shed. All right, well,
but I
let's
mean,
scab
even
up
the
some
water
stuff
wheel,
to
wasn't
make
that all tanks or something? You repurposed tanks into this
LPG tanks and things. Yeah, like it was really interesting stuff and really well made and all the rest of it. And he was a bit interesting and definitely. So again, the story that I'm alluding to made national news.
Yeah.
So,
he took a strong stance on that.
Yeah, and
publicly,
it got picked up.
He had the courage of his convictions on that one.
We did to a point, but I think that contributed to his suicide.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because he got massively dogpiled on it, and then the AAP picked it up, and then it went national, and he did take the signs down.
Yeah, true.
So he did realise that he'd bitten.
Did he take them down?
No, he took them down.
Okay.
Well, I can't. I believe he did. Yeah, I believe he did, and he had. And it was just for him. It was just one of those things because he was that kind of guy. It was like, a favourite expression and very true. That is not a hill you need to fight and die on, because that's what happened. He put up a sign up on a hill, and then he fought and died over it, and didn't make any difference. And that's what And I had that conversation with him because he got shitty with me because I'd sent him a message going, do you want to not? Are we still good for work? Because if you bring that shit to me, then we're not working anymore. And he rang me and got really shitty and like, who are you to tell me that? And I'm saying I employ you, and I'm telling you that
if you're making national headlines, I don't want you here.
If you're making national headlines about stupidity like that, well, mate, why should I continue to employ you?
Yeah.
And he got off, and well, I said, look, I don't care, mate. I just don't want to fucking hear about it. And that's when we were still in Sydney. It's like, your bullshit's crossing my desk in Sydney.
Yeah.
And you were working for me last week. Like,
I don't want by association.
Basically, it was a cross. I wasn't being too cunty, but it was just a cross. But like, sort of saying, so what's going on there? Like, what are we doing? And so do I continue to employ you, and I end up with the villagers coming at me with fucking firebrands and pitchforks because I don't need that right now.
And back to my favourite expression, it's, have you got nothing better to do with your time? That doesn't directly affect you.
No.
If it was some rural issue, council rates, farm fencing, water use, like something, but gay marriage?
Yeah. To take a stand. And
why?
You were looking, but that was the kind of guy. He was a shit stirrer, and you were looking for, and because I think...
Was he religious?
Oh.
Like, was it
just holier than thou.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he would have been a member of any organised religion.
The church? Yeah. Did he go to church? But that's what I was thinking. Maybe it was religious bent that he, the Bible says, la la la.
I think those things
Not
are
that
very.
I know what the Bible says.
No, you don't. I, however, do, and I think, it was just a case of those things are convenient to latch onto.
Fair enough.
It says here that Jesus, this
not Christian.
Then go read Leviticus, mate, and look at all the fucking craziness in there.
Theo Von, if anyone's.
And right now I'm wearing cloth made out of two different, cotton and polyester, whatever. And I should be put to death.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway. And it's like, yes, why don't you sell your children into slavery to me? How much are they worth? Because I've got a bit of money and I don't mind. They were pretty useful. I could put them to work. But, that brings another thing that up on that same subject, which I haven't read the article because it's behind a paywall, but I wouldn't mind maybe read for next time. So there was drag story time for children.
I couldn't read it either. I tried to read it. Yeah.
So they were doing that in Tasmania, and again, all I look at it is like, can't you think of anything original to do? you don't have to do everything that America does, and you don't have to, almost like this guy. Look, I don't know. Maybe this is just a gig that some performer got, and I'm sure it is, and I'm sure it's completely above board and everything's cool and whatever, right? I don't think there's anything untoward going on there at all. Besides some guy in a dress that desperately wants to read to children, but that's fine. It's performance. Plenty of people. There was plenty of people doing play school back in the day too. It's a gig. I get all that. Happy days. So that's my, no problem. Whatever. Fill your boots. Anyone's dumb enough to want to go along to it, well, let them. Not my cup of tea. Anyway, even though we did want drag bingo in the bar, but we couldn't find a bloody drag queen that would do it. So anyway, Tassie, being Tassie, bless them. Because this used to be 20 years ago, this was much more of a thing. They did find some loonies to come out and picket it, some Christian women, and it's like, oh, good, because I was worried about Tasmania. I was thinking, oh God, you haven't gone all woke and inclusive. Where are the nutters from Branxholme that get around in buggy carriages?
Why did you pick Branxholme?
Because that's where the fucking Amish are.
They're not nutters.
Yeah, they're nutters.
It takes them too long to get here anyway in their horse and cart.
They've organised some... Brother Jacob has organised a bus. Guess that's the same thing. It's like they'll make
exception.
Oh yeah, they'll make exceptions. When you see the which we've seen, you see the Mennonites down at the thing waiting for someone to get off a plane. It's like, oh, is it all great?
Go on, spit it out.
I was just going to say, is it all right, Goody Smith, that he takes the devil's tube to come here? So yes, we don't know what the thing is, but yes, it does look like a couple of religious Karens got together and got down there, and
all I saw was the headline and
pictures of the women.
Of the picketing, and one woman looking very angry, and it said something about slurs, and I went, oh God, what are they yelling?
Oh yeah. Satan's,
Jesus.
There'll be a lot of, you pofters shouldn't be talking to our children and all the rest of it. But as I said, I
have two views on that. I'm a bit bipolar. So yes, same as you, have at it, don't care. It's just a kids think it's dress up, it's fine. But don't, the whole gender shit, like, can you not, they're 5. They don't understand. Just read them the story. Just dress nicely, colourful, but none of the bullshit. Yeah, so they're not young. They're too young to understand.
Yeah, you wouldn't take kids to to go and see Dame Edna Everage, especially because Barry Humphries is also an adult performer. But my line is always, which I don't think is particularly controversial these days, when it involves topics of sex, it's gone too far.
Yep.
Very simple, because kids until they're heading towards their teen years, just let them be kids,
as long as
don't let them be and don't involve them in politics and race and gender issues. Like, just let them.
They don't know what you're talking about.
No, and
they shouldn't.
Just let them. Let
them be a kid.
Let them be.
Do whatever they want.
So, because you do see the ones, if you look at libs on TikTok, you do see filmed evidence, which is becoming less and less believable as time goes on. But you do see evidence of, like, you've essentially taken your kids to a strip club.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. As long as your bits are all in your dress, like, can you not have your tits hanging out or your bum hanging out or your cock out? Thanks very much.
And can you not have children go and tip them by putting cash in their G-strings?
Yeah, I saw that one. I went, wow.
But
story
even
time,
with that one, it's like
reading a book.
Yes,
fine.
A bloke in a dress reading a book.
Don't care.
Happy days.
Yeah.
Who cares? Again, not the sort of thing.
Because little kids just look, again, because I have a huge amount of experience with kids, but from what I understand, kids just go, oh, cool, colours and shapes and...
Well, that comes to your point. If you're going to them like you're going to the Wiggles, because I'd say to a 4-year-old, if there was 4 blokes in drag or 4 guys that look like dollar shop Power Rangers... singing a song about Jeff and his car,
happy days,
and that's the limit of my knowledge of these people. Then who cares? Half the Wiggles are probably queer anyway. Like, I mean, what difference does it make?
They change all the time now. I don't know who the Wiggles are.
Who cares? Half the band, the Cockroaches, originally.
I remember that. There was a girl though.
Yeah. But whatever, all good. Who cares? That's fine. But if halfway through it they're talking about, where do we come from? And here's
This is why the LGBTQI plus movement has. It's like, no, they don't know what that is. Just read the fucking book.
Just read.
Just read the magic pudding.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's fine. And then it's like, but and then of course you get to the point where it's just like, you shouldn't have an opinion about that, and it's just like,
Why not?
just fuck off.
Why shouldn't I have an opinion?
I can have an opinion about anything I bloody well want. That's why it's called an opinion.
So I wonder if they're going to do it again.
Oh, I don't know. I think it'd come down to, did they make a quid out of it? Because
What's at the library?
Oh no, but no. Oh yeah. Well,
it's free. Someone's
paying the performer,
right?
You would expect.
Oh, I'd hope so.
Yeah, I fucking hope so too.
Because they said it's a gig.
That's.
I think there's 3 drag people in bloody Tasmania anyway. So.
Yeah, so back in the day, back in the Carlotta's days, they were female impersonators. It's woman face. Like it was
dear.
It was no, but that was a part of that. Was a part
gender
of
appropriation. Is that what it's been called now?
They're trying all that on.
But anyway, I hope that. Well, again, as I said, it was at the library. It was free. It was a council-run thing because obviously it's a library.
And that's why just going. What's council got to like? You're sitting around.
Inclusivity. I'll save this for tomorrow. But there's a show on which I haven't watched called where they Alone, where they dump them in the wilderness and
one
then
of
you
them's trans.
All of them have got a fucking. I read. The only reason I read it is because it's in northwest here. They've dumped them over there
in Tasmania.
Yeah.
Are they dead yet?
I
should
don't
be
know.
Dead in 3 hours. If you do it properly, they'd be stuffed in a day.
That's why I read it, because I was like, oh fuck, all right. And then I thought, hang on, is there actually a chance of them dying? Because that's the only reason I'd watch it. Because otherwise, it's just
if 3 of them expire, then let me know.
Yeah.
Once we get up to a few of them, or someone's drinking their breakfast out of someone's skull.
So
then...
yeah, because I think this has crossed out my desk before from the Wood Ferret who comes here. He's watched it. It's one of the biggest, millions of people watch it. The American version, millions on SBS.
And this is
the Australian version, God. And they've dumped. I don't know if it's been or gone yet, but the northwest coast of Tasmania, they dumped them, and there's women and men. But the backstories I'm reading. This one's a proud whatever fucking woman, and she's a mother of 2 and a grandmother. It's like yeah. This one's another proud such and such man. I'm like, okay, cool. This guy's a PhD. Engineer, then another woman, then another man. There's a real young guy. But it'll be interesting to see who.
No, it won't.
Well, the only reason I say interesting is that I'm like, as I said, is someone actually going to die? And apparently they have to go, again, because I haven't watched it, because I don't really do that. They go as long as they want. I don't know if they get any shit to take with them, because one of them said, I'm used to having tools to do stuff, so I don't know if you get any tools. And then you can tap out when you're at, that's it.
I'm sure there's a catering van and...
That's why I'm like, so behind the camera, is there, toilets and shit?
Have to be. I'm surprised they're not getting fucking picketed by the greenies you're ruining...
Yeah, I'm not sure where they dump them.
At sea, preferably.
Anyway.
Yes, anyway, so no, all I thought about that, fucking... Was it... What do they call it? Drag story? They don't use the word drag. Is it...
I think it is drag story
time or something. I just think it's derivative crap. Can we do something original? And do we have to be needlessly provocative?
Find something different.
Just it's not
something original, but there is no original. Drag storytime event. Christian lobby. Deputy Premier push back over Pussy Poppins drag storytime event at Launceston Library.
Yeah, they should be at disco nights in clubs and things and doing that. But but if they want to read to kids, well, great. Who cares? But and as I said, for the record, time and time again, especially being Australia, this isn't backwards America, because when it comes to a lot of those social things, America is fucking backwards.
Oh yeah.
There would be absolutely no nonsense at all, and it's sad that you even have to think about it from that point of view.
In terms of what?
Oh, that there's an ulterior motive, or that the kids are, because I'm sure that the performer read a story, and I'm sure you're right, and it's colours and and interesting and flamboyance and glitter and all that sort of stuff, and I'm sure there was no mention.
I hope so.
I genuinely hope there wasn't even a brief mention of the nonsense that is
gender. That's
the
what
gender
I'm saying.
wars, which is all bullshit.
I agree.
So
I wonder what they'll do next.
well, have another. Well, they're going to do one of two things. Well, hopefully they don't bother. It just. I'm conflicted by my
rates at work.
Yes, basically, I'm conflicted by. Can't you just? I don't have a bin service because you haven't done it yet. You haven't updated my rates after I bought that other piece of property. You haven't done that.
Can you just do your job?
We've got a bloke and address needlessly creating column inches in the paper with a whole heap of other Christian lunatics needlessly going and protesting the pointless. It's all, Don't these people have jobs?
Have you got nothing better to do with your time? I must get that put on a t-shirt or a hat.
It's going to be your brand. Anyway, I think somehow we've managed to do an hour, so Jesus Christ. I was just coming up for a quick cup of tea.
Alright, cool.
Alright, another broad-ranging
Unconventional,
conversation.
Unsolicited and unpopular opinions. That's my tagline.
Yes, alright. we shall update our descriptions forthwith. So, anyway,
if you'd like to hear our opinion on something else that you're currently...
if our 15 subscribers was 16, someone's woken up.
That's hilarious.
Someone's already gone, oh, fuck these two.
Yeah, good.
Can you get to the point? And it's like, no, we can't. Anyway, so very genuinely, off you go, my children.
Have a good day.
Beware of wolves. Watch out for wolves.
Watch out for the UV.
Watch out for the UV. Watch out for maniacs building welding trailers and try not to cause a fire and be careful welding out there because it's a bit dry and a bit warm, but that's all right.
Australia.
All right. See you in a day or two.